Good afternoon. This is Dottie Lofstrom, Chair of the Civil Service Commission. It is Wednesday, June 10th, 2026, 2:30 p.m., and this meeting will come to order.
Thank you. We'll open with roll call. Commissioner Lofstrom,
Present.
Commissioner Butler,
Present.
Commissioner Rulapon.
Present.
And then if you don't mind, Dottie, I'll move right into public comment.
Yes,
and let
please.
you know that we have none unless there is someone here in the room that would like to make public comment. Okay.
Okay, well, good afternoon, Commissioners. I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I respectfully wanted to ask that my classification still be considered for reclassification to Administrative Assistant 2. I understand that a lot of hard work went into it, and I can appreciate all the efforts. And I just wanted to speak to the fact that the responsibilities require more than routine administrative support, and they require independent judgment, problem solving, and program coordination, and the ability to interpret and apply changing election laws and regulations. I believe the study accurately describes the work I perform, but I disagree with the conclusion that those duties do not involve complex program coordination or higher level administrative responsibility. The work currently assigned already demonstrates a level of complexity and independence and responsibility consistent with Administrative Assistant 2 classification. I'm proud of to support the Register of Voters, and I've always been willing to assist whenever needed to ensure that the success of the department. However, flexibility and willingness to assume additional responsibilities shouldn't diminish the recognition of the increasingly complexity of administrative and analytical operational functions assigned to the position. So basically to say that even though I will wear any hat, basically, if we are stuffing envelopes, whatever the case may be, I'm willing to do it, but that doesn't mean that the other duties I perform aren't complex. So I would like that you consider that when reviewing the classification. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm a little tall for this, but good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Trevor Perry. I serve as the Management Analyst 2 for the Register of Voters Office. I'm speaking today regarding the recommendation to maintain position 148658 as an Administrative Assistant 1. After reviewing the report, my concern is not with the description of the duties being performed. In many respects, I believe that the Human Resources Department accurately identified the responsibilities assigned to the position. My concern is that the conclusion does not align with the facts documented throughout the report. The Admin Assistant 2 specification identifies greater complexity, greater independent judgment, and less supervision as the key distinctions from the Administrative Assistant 1. The report itself clearly establishes all three. The report acknowledges that the incumbent Shuri monitors legislative and regulatory changes, responds to Public Records Act requests, develops departmental procedures, coordinates with vendors and outside agencies, supports grant-related initiatives, develops public-facing communications, and helps ensure departmental compliance. The report also states that the position often operates with little direction and requires a level of independence to ensure operations continue smoothly. The report further acknowledges that the incumbent developed and coordinated both the Certified Election Observer Program and the department's internship program. These were not established programs that simply required administrative support. They required development, coordination, implementation, stakeholder engagement, problem solving, and ongoing administration. In addition, the incumbent has independently developed departmental procedures, coordinated with county departments, vendors, educational partners, and outside organizations assisted with election excellence certification initiatives, and routinely serves as a liaison between management and external stakeholders. These responsibilities require analysis, judgment, and accountability beyond the execution of established processes. What is difficult to reconcile is that the report concludes that the position does not involve difficult or complex program coordination while simultaneously documenting the responsibilities that include developing programs, implementing procedures, monitoring regulatory requirements, maintaining compliance, and coordinating across multiple agencies and stakeholders. Classification is not a reflection of employee performance. The question is whether the current classification accurately reflects the duties assigned to the position. Based on the work documented in the report, the position performs a complex range of duties, exercises substantial independent judgment, and operates with limited supervision. Those are the very distinctions identified between the Admin Assistant 1 and the Administrative Assistant 2 position. For those reasons, I respectfully disagree with the recommendation and ask that the Commission support reclassification of the position to Admin 2. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other public comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you both for your comments. We will move on to approval of the minutes of the April 8th, 2025 meeting. And if you have any changes, please suggest them. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I motion to approve the minutes from the April 8th, 2026 meeting.
I can second.
All those who agree say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the minutes passed. I guess I should have said this in public comment myself earlier, but I'm just going to inject something here. This is Jennifer's last meeting with us, and I was lucky enough to be here even before you were the HR director, to be here with you the entire time. These two, I believe she was already the HR director. You've been so helpful and so gracious, and I just want to thank you for that. For me personally, you have this way of doing just the slightest little nod at me when I'm not sure which direction I should go, and you can tell what I'm thinking, and I look at you, and you just give me that little half blink and gives me that reassurance. So I did just want to acknowledge your last day, not with the county, but here with the, yeah, I know, you're like, I'm not ready. So, and if anyone else has something you want to say?
Yeah, I've been there for last 3-4 years working with you, and really, I think very close, soft, and very nature, and the way you, as she mentioning, just nod, we can understand what your intents to pass the message to the commission, and at the same time, your experience, you've been there for such a long time, and your experience will be missed out. Probably that will maybe the next who is taking over, they can shadow you and gain some exposure, I think. That's what I feel. And good luck for your future and your plans. Thank you.
Good luck and thank you. I know I had a lot of questions coming in as a rookie, but I appreciate your patience with me, so thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you to all of you. And it's always a joy to work with the commission. It's been 26 years, I guess. I've been coming to all the commission meetings, presenting, and now being able to be the secretary of the commission. And it's a really beneficial part of the whole process and the role of the director, getting to know each of the commissioners, their styles. We really appreciate all of your service. And I will miss this, and I might stop by every once in a while just to make sure. I might have a public comment or two, but I do thank you very much for recognizing it. And I have 2 weeks left, so if you have more questions the next 2 weeks, you know where to find me.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the next item in the agenda, which is accepting the report of disciplinary action. I have it in front of me. We have it in front of all of you. I don't have any questions. So with that, we'll accept the report. You need to say
Chair,
something.
if I could just make one note.
Yeah.
the report you have shows 5 reports of disciplinary action. 1 is being appealed to the commission. There was one at the time, the agenda deadline, that their deadline to request appeal hadn't passed. And since then, it has passed and there was no appeal. So of the
Okay.
5, 1 will be appealed to the Civil
Okay,
Service
so we
Commission.
just have the one. Okay, thank you for that. I forgot about that. See what I mean? You just, so helpful. Okay, with that, we'll move on to the first classification.
Yeah.
Did I
I'm gonna-
I
do something?
accept we didn't accept it.
We need to
I
make a
did.
motion to.
Oh, we
in
do a motion? I
second?
was thinking I just
Yeah.
accepted it. See, you'd think I'd just started. Okay, then I will accept a motion to accept the appeal for disciplinary action report.
I move to accept the action of disciplinary report.
I can second.
And all those who agree in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And so the motion passed. Thank you for that. I'm kind of holding a few things in my head right now. All right. Now that we did our action, we could move on to the classification project for Senior Deputy County Council. And I appreciate the presence of the county council here in the room if we have any questions. So.
Yes, all right. Hello, Commissioners. I am Raquel Enong Steptoe, Classification Analyst. Today, I am presenting Classification Project 26010 for the Office of the County Council. This item requests to adopt a new classification specification, Senior Deputy County Council. The Office of the County Council requested that Human Resources create a new level between the Deputy County Council 4 and the Chief Deputy County Council. It formally defines and introduces a leadership role, which is non-existent in the current organizational structure. The Senior Deputy County Council will be expected to regularly handle the most complex, sensitive, and specialized legal matters on behalf of the county while providing mentorship and guidance to other attorneys within a specialized legal area of practice. By adding this level, the department aims to enhance the retention of its most talented attorneys. The new classification requires current active membership in the California State Bar, 8 years in practice of law with at least 2 years as a Deputy County Counsel 4 in San Joaquin County, or 8 years in the practice of law, including at least 4 years of civil practice, including litigation, handling government-related matters such as the Brown Act, Public Records Act, California Environmental Quality Act, known as CEQA, land use, employment law, labor law, or the Lanterman-Petrus Short Act. County Counsel Edward Kernan and Assistant County Counsel Kimberly Johnson is available should you have questions of the department. Thank you.
Thank you. I myself have no questions. Do either of the commissioners?
Yeah, I just have a very simple, is there any particular reason for creating the new position? Or we don't have the San Joaquin County enough attorneys to address the issues, whatever currently going on? No, what I mean to say, what is the reason to create this position?
Yes, so we wanted to formally define a leadership role in between the current series, which is the 4 and the Chief County Counsel. That way they have the ability to mentor, as well as we wanted to highlight and recognize those attorneys that have the specialized experience. But County Counsel is here if they'd like to speak to that as well.
Okay. Okay, that should be good.
Did that satisfy you?
Yeah. that's-
Okay. Okay, yeah, I myself, it made perfect sense to add this level. You established that the other counties typically have this particular level, so I read through it, I was really happy with it, and I'm ready to vote then. I'm ready to accept a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the classification project 26-010, Office of the County Council.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the motion passed. Thank you very much again for your presence. With that, we will move on to the next one, which is the Public Health Services for the breastfeeding counselor.
Yes. Hello, I'm presenting again. So I am presenting classification project 26-012 for Public Health Services. Public Health Services requested that Human Resources create a full-time civil service breastfeeding counselor. The new class will mirror the current temporary classification of the same name. A full-time position is needed to better align with federal services requirements and to provide consistent care for breastfeeding participants throughout San Joaquin County. In addition, the classification will help with ongoing recruitment and retention issues by allowing an incumbent to gain civil service status. The breastfeeding counselor classification specification duties and minimum qualifications are aligned with the federal women's, infant, and children breastfeeding peer counseling requirements. In summary, the class will provide breastfeeding program services in one-on-one and group settings for program participants. The minimum qualifications are 6 months of breastfeeding. The draft classification was shared with SEIU, Service Employees International Union, on May 5th and received no objections to this classification prior to this meeting. Public Health Director Renee Sinceri is available remotely should you have questions of the department. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I do have one question. I think it's more a curiosity question, but it's under the physical requirements, and it's about halfway through the paragraph. After hearing and talking, where it says constant hearing of normal speech, hearing on the telephone, radio, talking on the telephone. And then it says frequent hearing of faint sounds and occasional talking in person. So I'm going to take the last one first, occasional talking in person. So does that mean that this is primarily a distance work, that primarily the talking will be like on the telephone and Zoom and rarely in person? I'm just curious about that.
I'm
Mr.
happy to answer that question.
Thank you.
So if somebody is struggling and is unable to attend an appointment and maybe they already had their first consult, we try to do low barrier care and allow for telephone help over the phone, especially with underserved populations. They don't always have transportation. And while the program prefers in person, we try to do everything we can to get them in. Some just can't make it. So we try to do as much help as we can over the phone after the initial consult.
Oh, okay. The occasional talking, and so, okay, so occasionally there will be someone in person, but mostly it's over the phone because of the difficulties of travel. Is that what I'm getting from you?
No, we try to do in person, and that is actually what the state wants and is wanting everybody to be in person, but we have to offer telephone.
Okay, so what you don't know about me, and it's pretty annoying to a lot of people, is that I'm kind of a word person, and I really look at things about words. And so the occasional talking in person, the reason that's bugging me is I think what it sounds like is you usually talk in a person, but are also available on the phone, right? That's what you're saying?
That is correct.
Okay, so that's that's just an editorial comment that I would like to see changed. And then the next one is definitely just my curiosity, frequent hearing of faint sounds. What does that mean?
When a baby latches to a mother, there's swallowing sounds you need to hear to know that the baby is actually able to draw down milk.
Okay, that answered it perfectly, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I told you that was just a curiosity one. Are there other comments from, or questions from the commissioners?
No question.
Okay, then I would like to entertain a motion that will approve classification project 26-012 adopting the classification specification for breastfeeding counselor with a slight editorial change about occasionally talking in person, making that editorial change.
I move to accept classification project 2602 with the recommended changes to the occasional word.
I can second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that has passed as well. Thank you again, Ms. Ansari.
You're welcome.
Next, we have the classification project that we heard about earlier during public comment, and this is maintaining, the recommendation is maintaining Administrative Assistant 1, classification project 25004.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Sylvia Aparicio, and I will be presenting Classification Project 25004. The request before you is for the Commission to approve the recommendation to maintain 1 Administrative Assistant 1 within their current classification. As an incumbent study, this type of classification project is where Human Resources is asked to review a position or group of positions, identify whether they are properly classified, and to make and implement recommendations accordingly. After considering the report before you and hearing today's item, the Commission is requested to approve or deny the requested action. The recommended action will include either to reclassify or to maintain the classification assignment. The primary data used to arrive at a recommendation is the position description questionnaire, also known as a PDQ, completed by the study incumbent and verified by department management. This questionnaire asks various questions to assist with identifying classification factors such as scope, level, type, and purpose of the work currently performed by the incumbent. Often, a meeting with the study incumbent takes place with the purpose of gaining additional clarification of the role, and sometimes includes viewing or observing work samples. Additional interviews with management may also identify key components of the role. In the context of an incumbent study, the characteristics and performance of an individual are not taken into consideration. In instances where the Commission is asked to reclassify a position, it is agreeing that the primary body and purpose of work of the study position is significantly different enough from the assigned classification to warrant circumventing the competitive examination process and place the individual into a more appropriate class reflective of that work. In either case of reclassification or recommendation to maintain, Rule 3 of San Joaquin County Civil Service Rules provides a process by which the infected employee may appeal the Commission's decision. Bless you. These appeal rights and process are communicated to the incumbent study shortly after the Commission takes action. When the affected employee does not submit or indicate they do not wish to appeal the Commission prior to the following month's regularly scheduled meeting, Human Resources moves forward with finalizing the action to either reallocate the position in county budget or do nothing further in the case that the position will maintain the current classification assignment. So that's a little bit of background information on incumbent studies. So regarding this class study, the Registrar of Voters submitted a request for Human Resources to study a single incumbent assigned to the Administrative Assistant 1 classification. The request asserted that the position's duties were above the scope of its assigned classification. HR conducted a comprehensive study to evaluate whether the current classification accurately reflected the position's assigned duties and responsibilities. Again, information considered in determining appropriate classification were factors such as type, level, and scope of work. Data collected through the PDQ, site visits, and interviews were compared to the assigned classification. The report before you provides in detail the data used to make this determination. HR analyzed the position while comparing the primary purpose and predominant duties and concluded duties performed by the incumbent aligned with the current classification specification. Based on the findings, the position was determined to be appropriately classified as an Administrative Assistant 1, and the recommendation is to maintain the current classification. The preponderance of work is supportive in nature and heavily reflected through the duties such as coordinating media interviews, tracking and reconciling election and department expenses, submitting board letters, ensuring compliance with county and ROV procedures. The study incumbent serves a role in ensuring the department receives reliable administrative and reconciliation support. This type of work is provided for in the currently assigned Administrative Assistant 1 classification. Again, it is recommended that the commission approve the request to maintain the position. The classification report and recommendation were shared with the department on May 12th and 18th, and then also shared with the study incumbent on May 19th. The report was also shared with SEIU on May 26th, and no response was received from SEIU prior to this meeting. At this time, I will happily address any questions you may have regarding the class study approach. And also, should you have any questions regarding ROV operations, we've seen that we have the Registrar of Voters, Olivia Hale, here, as well as the incumbent and the management analyst, too. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to hear, is there any questions from either of the commissioners?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's relevant, but I just want to give a comment, because this is related to the registration of voters and election thing. So is a public hearing, public comments, we used to see the counting is getting so late, and throughout the US currently, whatever the election happens, San Joaquin County is the one. It took such a long time in getting the counting done and everything. It's been going on from 25, 23, and even the recent election also. So is it, because, I don't know, it's relevant to this topic, because the election, I saw the registered voters, so I'm bringing this one. Is it something the county can improve on that part?
I think that is something that, obviously, the Registrar of Voters would be well equipped to answer, but I will say it is unfortunately a little irrelevant for this study.
Okay.
But certainly would encourage you to reach out to Ms. Hale. She's always happy to talk elections.
Sure.
I do have a question. For the study, were they actually looking at what the individuals were doing or what it is that they're supposed to be doing, that they're required to do?
So we're specifically looking at what they're doing and if that relates to what they are allocated as.
Okay, so even if their supervisors are giving them things that are not part of, it's all of that is looked at in the study?
Correct.
Usually, these things to me are straightforward. I didn't find this one to be straightforward. It seemed like there was an awful lot of administrative work included in here. I even got to the point where I was wondering if there were some of her duties, some of the things that she's doing is not working out of class. Do you agree with this statement, and can you expand on it a little bit and help me understand?
So I guess let me understand your question. If I agree that she's doing administrative work?
At least part of the time, it seemed like I read that.
So No. Based off of my report, based off of the information that was provided to me from the incumbent, from the department, everything is within scope of an administrative one assistant, or administrative assistant one classification.
100%.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what it was that made me think otherwise, but do you agree with me too?
No, I agree. There were some things that, being a part of the budget, being administrative assistant to me is you're answering phones, you're scheduling meetings, those are administrative assistant type duties. So there was a few things that kind of seemed a little over an administrative assistant to
So
me.
maybe you could help our commissioners understand the difference between what some organizations call administrative assistants and how our classifications are used here as more of an analyst.
So in this case, administrative assistant, it can have a broader scope, and also depending on the size of the department, that plays a factor in it. So one of the bigger components within an administrative two, that would be you are a primary on a program, so you are the one that handles the program as a whole. And also it would be that you're within a larger department, so your scope is wider versus being in a smaller department, and that scope being a smaller scope versus answering phones, that would be more clerical as opposed to being analytical. So I will agree that this position is analytical, which is why she's an administrative assistant, versus being like a senior office assistant or an office assistant specialist. That would be more clerical. Do you have any comments?
Hi, if I can add just a little bit more distinction. So in San Joaquin County, our admin assistant is very much like our management analyst. So it's an administrative analytical position with essentially without the degree. One of the things that we look at between the admin 1 and the admin 2 is the distinction of duties and the level of supports that are there. Within a smaller organization like the ROV, we look at the various levels of staffing that they have there. For an admin 2 at the smaller departments, typically that would be the person who is responsible for the budget during budget prep season. So they would be the person working with their department head there. So in this case with the ROV, they have other levels in between the department head that assist with the budget process. Typically within a smaller organization, again, the admin 2 would have ownership over the budget. They are the go-to budget person. And in this case, within the ROV, there are various levels. Elections manager, there's an MA2 that assists with the budgets as well. So at least in this particular case, some of the duties may be quasi-analytical but they still end up being resulting in administrative in nature. And when it comes to ownership of the program, it also refers to having a level of authority of this is the go-to person and what this person kind of says goes for that, where in this case, there are various levels within that need to get approval before it actually goes out. And that's not to say anything that the incumbent, that they're working on is hard and complex and adds value to the department. Just at this level, there are various levels in between the ROV and the incumbent that we studied that kind of adds those, that reviews and goes through everything before it finally gets pushed out to the general public or an ownership within a program. Hopefully that cleared a little bit up for, I guess, how the county operates with trying to do the distinction between the admin 1 and the admin 2 within a smaller department and within some of the larger ones.
Yeah, I thought that was helpful, and it's true. I mean, you've got the office technician, the office specialist, the admin assistant, the 1 and the 2, and it is complicated for those of us who don't actually work in it. And so, yeah, I think I myself don't have any questions. That last helped me out. Anything else anyone wants to ask or say? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to, well, let you, whoever wants to make the motion, I'll let you make it however you want to make it. Okay, I'll help you out. I'll entertain a motion to maintain the administrative assistant one position as recommended by the county.
Yeah, I can second.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I think we are all reluctantly seconding and voting here. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passed, and I'm truly sorry. I have to speak into the microphone, so I can't turn around and look at you. But the two people who came to speak, both the incumbent and the management analyst, I thought you made a really good case, and it does seem like he's a highly valued member, and I know these things are always disappointing, so.
Oh, I just want to say that this, part of us bringing this, obviously it was very struggle between the department and HR, but this does open up the appeal process. So with one of the great things about civil service is that this gives the incumbent herself an opportunity to appeal the request, should she disagree. And from there, she would be able to come and provide you additional information so this isn't kind of like the all means ends. It's just this one step in the civil service process.
Thank you for that reminder. I was thinking, I wasn't thinking clearly again on that. So of course, there's that next step. So thank you very much.
Of course, thank you.
Okay, and with that, we can move to the next one, which is amend the classification specification for laboratory assistant supervisor.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Classification Analyst Molly Boonslot presenting Classification Project 2614. San Joaquin General Hospital requested for Human Resources to revise the classification specifications for Laboratory Assistant Supervisor to reflect the current scope of work. The current classification specification describes duties related to management of laboratory information systems, which is not performed by this class. The definition, class characteristics, and typical duty sections were amended to show the classification's involvement with day-to-day supervision of clinical laboratory operations, focus on quality control programs, and ensure compliance with federal and state regulatory requirements. Additionally, Human Resources worked with San Joaquin General Hospital to ensure that the physical and mental requirements reflect the current working conditions. HR provided the draft class specifications to Service Employees International Union on May 27th and have received no feedback prior to this meeting. Clinical Laboratory Operations Director Cecilia Mui is available remotely should you have questions of the department.
Okay, thank you. So we have a corrected copy in front of us, and that's just format corrections?
That is correct.
Oh, sorry. I looked at the wrong person. Okay, thank you. So I had not noticed formatting issues earlier. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay, nor do I. So in that case, I'll entertain a motion to amend the classification specification for laboratory assistant supervisor.
I'll make a motion for the classification project 26-014 to San Joaquin County General Hospital.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that motion has passed. And we'll move on to, I think it's one more. Yes. Amend the classification specification for Assistant Manager of Patient Financial Services.
Hello, me again. So I will be presenting classification project 26015. The request is for the commission to approve the amendments to Assistant Manager of Patient Financial Services. The patient accounting unit within San Joaquin General Hospital submitted a request to amend the minimum qualifications for Assistant Manager of PFS. As currently written, the minimum qualifications create barriers for qualified candidates who otherwise demonstrate the knowledge, skills, and abilities needed at entry into the classification. Since 2023, Human Resources has conducted 5 recruitments with which all consistently resulted in a low number of qualified applicants. In the hopes of generating a greater qualified candidate pool, HR removed the experience recency requirements and expanded the education substitution. The draft class specifications of the classification was shared with San Joaquin Management Association on May 27th, and they confirmed having no objections or feedback to the amendments. And also online with us, we have Deputy Finance Director Melanie. Should you have any questions for the department?
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from either of the other commissioners? This one seemed very straightforward to me as well. I have no questions. So, did you say something or?
No, no,
Oh, okay.
I'm good.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to amend the classification specification for Assistant Manager of Patient Financial Services.
I move to,
I'll make a motion for the classification project 26-015.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is passed.
Perfect, thank you.
You're the last one.
Okay, with that, we have a scheduling matter to take care of. We understand one of us is on vacation, and so we need to reschedule. And the meeting date that seems like will work for all of us is July 22nd. Okay, so we were discussing the July 22nd meeting. I want to ask, is this just a regular meeting, or is this not going to have a closed session?
It potentially could have a closed session. This is not where we're specifically expecting to address like one of our EEO appeals.
Yes.
But we could, depending on other matters, have a closed hearing.
Of course, but it's not.
But it's not.
It's not anticipated right now. Okay, okay. So in that case, a motion to reschedule our meeting?
I make a motion to reschedule the July meeting to July 22nd.
And a second? And all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye, and that motion has passed, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.